Have you ever felt like you don't have enough people to talk to about your business, don't have enough leads flowing in, don't have enough prospects to talk to, and you just wish you had a bigger audience and more followers to make it a little bit easier? Well, in this week's episode, we're going to break down a very systematized strategy that you can use on LinkedIn specifically to help you to turn up in upwards of 1,500 searches per week for free, and to even book as many as 14 calls about your business in a single week using this systematized, simple strategy. And what I love about this is even if you haven't had success on LinkedIn in the past, or maybe you don't even have a LinkedIn profile yet, you can still succeed at this. So let's do this. Today, we're here with internationally acclaimed and award-winning online marketer, three-time best-selling author, and top podcaster and speaker, Scott Aaron. Now, he is the go-to specialist when it comes to converting traffic, establishing connections, and creating income using LinkedIn and building personal brands there. Now, Scott fully immersed himself in learning LinkedIn and social media strategies and quickly gained traction as a leader in generating big results for himself, as well as other entrepreneurs, online business owners, and business coaches. So Scott is passionate about helping fellow entrepreneurs achieve success while building their own network organically and without any complicated or costly marketing tactics. His program has helped thousands experience explosive growth following his proven system and strategies. We are so blessed to have him here with us today. So welcome, Scott. I'm so excited that we get to dig into LinkedIn with you today.
Well, Adrienne, thank you again for having me come and speak, and just really grateful to be a part of this summit.
Wonderful. So, we have one thing I want to make sure not everyone in the audience may have met you yet. And obviously, just through the bio, I'm sure they're really excited to dig in. But can you just tell us in your own words a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how you came to be where you are today as a LinkedIn expert?
Well, I'll make a very long story short. It's been a very interesting 24 years. So I'm not 24 years old, I'm 42, but my entrepreneurship began when I was 18. So I jokingly tell people that I've been psychologically unemployable since day one. So I've never had a boss. I've only worked for myself. I was actually helping my family run and operate our health clubs. We had 3 different gyms in downtown Philadelphia. And I was still going to school full-time at Temple University in downtown Philadelphia, getting my degree in HR. But how I came to become an entrepreneur, so I was ending my freshman year at the University of Pittsburgh, and I was going into my second year. And my father, who was also an entrepreneur and still is, my grandfather, who's still with us, he's 93, he'll be 94 in February, was his own entrepreneur himself. He owned a pharmacy. And my great-grandfather had a butcher shop in downtown Philadelphia when he first came over here in the 1920s. So I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. It's embedded in my DNA. So my father ended up breaking partnership in a company that he owned, and he went to go work for someone else, owning multiple locations of a physical rehabilitation company. And things from outside looking in seemed to be going really well. Money was coming in. We were living a good life. I mean, not rich by any means, but there was never a struggle, or at least we never, knew of any struggles going on. After my freshman year, it was my sister, who's 3 years younger, myself and my parents, and we were having a barbecue, just the 4 of us in the backyard. My dad's like, listen, we got to talk about something. And we said, okay. And he said, listen, I'm leaving this company, and I'm actually going to be taking over and buying a health club in downtown Philadelphia. And we said, okay, that kind of makes sense. He's been into bodybuilding his entire life. He still competes in bench press contests around the world to this day. He'll be 69 in December and holds multiple national and world records. So it wasn't really out of the scope of him wanting to do that. But what he followed that up with, why he was doing that, was kind of out of the scope. And he said, the reason why I'm leaving this company is because they're under investigation with the FBI for insurance fraud, and they are investigating me. So I obviously can no longer be a part of that company. And I'm going to be obviously putting my energy and efforts into growing this new business for the family. And he goes, I will tell you that there is the distinct possibility that I may go on house arrest. So I just want to be upfront with all of you. And we appreciated that. So as things kind of proceeded, my dad was ramping up this gym. I then transferred to community college for a summer and a semester, and then transferred to Temple. And in between that time period, obviously was his sentencing, and it was not house arrest. He actually got sentenced to 24 to 36 months in federal prison, which means he wasn't actually going to be there to take care of the gym. So the keys to the gym were actually turned over to me shortly before my 19th birthday. So I was kind of thrown into the ring of entrepreneurship to the point where I didn't really have any learning curve. I had to learn as I went along for the ride, but I fell in love with it. I fell in love with entrepreneurship, and I always correlate a lot of things from my journey back to health and wellness, because I had to learn about consistency. I had to learn about routine. I had to learn about time blocking. I had to learn about boundaries. I had to learn about, really defining the difference between work-life balance. So I competed in bodybuilding. I did powerlifting. So I learned so many systems and structures in my career. And I spent 18 years as a gym owner, personal trainer, sports nutritionist. I did corporate wellness speaking to various companies. And I loved it, but I loved people. And my father really appreciates my journey through his falters, through his business career, because out of dark comes something light. And, people always ask me, would you want it to be any different? And I said, no. And there were a lot of things that happened. There was millions made, millions lost. I went through 2 different divorces during that time period. Luckily, I found the woman of my dreams and my wife, Nancy, became a father to now a 9-year-old beautiful little boy, Taylor, and lost a house. And, there was a lot, had to file for personal bankruptcy. There were a lot of ups and downs, but the armor that I learned to wear every single day that I showed up as an entrepreneur primed me for facing adversities. It primed me for being resilient and understanding that the entrepreneur roller coaster is a real thing. What's the first thing that you do when you get on a roller coaster? You pull down the handlebars and you enjoy the ride. And there's dips, there's ups, there's downs. You go fast, you go slow, there's twists, there's turns. Sometimes you go backwards now on some roller coasters, just like in business. So a lot of my journey has been just like a roller coaster, but it's been one of the most gratifying things. And how LinkedIn kind of came into play was about 8.5 years ago in 2013. I was now at the point in my career, now 15 years in, and almost 50,000 hours coached one-on-one in personal training and nutritional counseling. I was looking for another way to diversify my time. And I was tired of trading time for dollars, and this spurred, and I want everyone to kind of think about this question. Someone asked me, they said, if you got sick or injured, where you physically couldn't perform your responsibility in your job anymore, you couldn't train people, you couldn't get to the gym went under, what's your plan B? How would you then make money? So for me, network marketing was a perfect model for me, because I was already in the health and wellness space. I was already a reputable and trusted source for my clientele for the Philadelphia area. And I chose that as my business model due to the high income rewards if done the right way, but the low barrier of entry, because my last gym, the third one that I ended up, closing almost 7 years ago and having to file personal bankruptcy to do that, it cost $700,000 to open. And you compare that to a network marketing opportunity, it's a few $100s. So it's like comparing apples to bowling balls. But the other thing is that I never treated it like a few $100 a month investment. And this is where a lot of network marketers and online marketers, they treat their business correlated with the amount of money it took to invest, right? So when I invested $700,000 into that gym, you better believe I was going to do whatever I can, not only to make that money back, but to make money on top of that. So I was already primed. I was already understanding that no matter where I was coming in the ladder of success that I was about to climb, I was going to put in $700,000 worth of effort into a $200 starter kit that I got from the company that I chose to join, or $1 million worth of effort, whatever it is. And I shot to the top of the ranks of the company within 2 years, started making about $10,000 a month in that time period. And it was because of a strategy that I started utilizing and created leveraging LinkedIn. Now, how LinkedIn kind of came about, and I don't work with just network marketers now. I work with business coaches, high performers, financial service professionals, but it started with what I knew best, and that was online marketing. And now I take the online marketing model and make it applicable to any business, no matter what industry that you're in. So I was at a conference, and this person who was heading the conference was calling all these people up on stage, and they were going over the art of connecting and conversations and the law of numbers. And he was asking each one of these individuals, he said, write down on a piece of paper how many conversations you've had to have to get to where you are right now in business. And the smallest amount of conversations I saw was 7,000.
Yeah.
And pardon my French, but the initial thought was, oh shit. Because
I was gonna say, holy shit. Yeah.
Holy shit. Because you're only allowed, quote unquote, 5,000 friends on Facebook. And I think everyone that's watching this or listening to this, we know that no one has the emotional capability to have 5,000 friendships. It just doesn't work that way. So at the very same time, I was reading a wonderful book called Go for No. Now, there's two versions. There's the original by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. And there's another one that's co-authored by Ray Higdon, which is for network marketers. Not saying that that's a bad book, but the original book by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton is The Bee's Knees. That is the book that you need to read. It's one of my Bibles outside of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. This is a book that I come back to every single year. Andrea and I have actually developed a really nice friendship over the last 3 years. We talk at least once every other quarter just to check in and see how things are going. But on the cover of the book, it says it all. It says, yes is the destination, but no is how you're going to get there. So a lot of people in business, they chase the yeses, right? And they get deflated by the no's. But I was doing the reverse. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm going to get inflated by the no's because the yeses will then start to show up after I get enough no's. But I said to myself, where could I go through the number of qualified connections and conversations to ramp things up to get to that number of yeses to grow my business? And the answer was not Instagram. The answer was not Facebook. The answer was LinkedIn. So I hopped on there, started leveraging it the best that I knew. And I just kind of figured it out as I went. I'm self-taught, just like everything I've done in my life. And I cracked the code, and I started helping a couple of my friends within the profession. And I was just telling them basically a bit of what I was doing. And my one buddy reached back out to me about 2 weeks after I showed him what to do. And he texted me and he said, listen, he texted me and he goes, you got to call me. So I called him and I said, what's up? And he goes, dude, listen, whatever you have figured out, it really works. And you should be helping people with this. He goes, I have 14 calls booked this week, and I've never had that many calls booked in 1 week before. And that was kind of the birth of me really understanding that I was onto something, because most online marketers, entrepreneurs, business owners struggle in one key area. It's not money mindset. Could be a separate conversation. Yes, it could be maybe posting on social media, but the number one pain point for most entrepreneurs is lead generation.
Not having enough people to talk to, not having enough interested people in what you have.
Qualified
so if I could just like jump in for just a moment here, yeah. I want to point out a couple key things to the audience that I think I really want to make sure they land with you. Okay. So for those of you listening, first of all, how amazingly brave your father had to be to have that conversation with you, but equally how brave you had to be to step into suddenly filling these shoes and owning this gym that was $700,000 to invest to get started. So notice the bravery, but what I also want you guys to notice is his growth mindset and his willingness to learn new things and pivot, right? So he was this gym owner, well-respected, pivoted into network marketing because it made sense for his brand. and then pivoted into learning LinkedIn as a niche area because he knew he needed that plan B and needed more people to talk to. And he was willing to learn something new and become an expert at it. So he could have looked at any of these things as problems, barriers, challenges, reasons to give up. And instead, he used them as reasons to excel. So I just wanted to point that out. I think it's so fascinating, your story.
And I want to kind of pivot off of something that you just said. And you mentioned the word niche, which is beyond important. And for me, when I closed my last health club and I was leveraging LinkedIn and I was building my network marketing business, I ended up shortly after that retiring from building my network marketing business because just energetically, it didn't feel right for me to teach and charge people for something that I was using for my own business for network marketing. So I wanted to be almost like a consultant to the profession where there was no financial ties. I didn't have to worry about being non-compliant. I wanted to be compliant. But here's the thing, what made me and what still makes our company so unique is that I could have been a social media coach, right? So I could have taught social media when people think social media, where does their mind go? Their mind goes to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere.
Yeah.
But what really made my journey unique is I niched down from day one. I said, I'm not going to teach social media, even though I could. I know a lot about all the social media platforms because I'm on them every single day, but I'm going to focus on that one track. I'm going to focus on LinkedIn because I want to separate myself from everyone else. Let everyone else be a social media coach, but I'm going to focus on a strategy that has proven to work for so many thousands of people that I've worked with over the last 7+ years. And I'm going to leverage that. So that's my message to anyone that's listening to this or watching this. Is something that we take people through in our mastermind called Expert Authority, is we make people niche down. You may be involved in a company that offers multiple different facets of solutions. Pick one. Because the wider that you go, the problem is this, Adrienne, people think the wider they go, the more people they can help. But the wider you go, right, the more diluted your message becomes. So you actually want to narrow your focus. So if you're involved in a company that focuses on maybe skincare, health and wellness, whatever it is, pick one. Go the skincare route and become the skincare specialist. Go the wellness route and become the wellness professional. So the more that you niche yourself down, the more focused you're going to be, but the less mixed messaging you're actually going to be producing online. So people are not going to be confused about what you do.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, because if you're trying to speak to everyone, you're resonating with no one.
Yep.
Everyone's just like, yeah, vanilla, 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 and they move on and they lose interest. So for those of you watching, and I know the most common thing I hear too is, I don't have enough people to talk to. I don't have a big enough audience. I don't have enough leads. Imagine going from that place of feeling like that to suddenly having 14 booked calls on your calendar, right? Like Scott's friend did. So please jump back into the story. Finish telling us the story of he's reaching out to you and he's saying, hey, dude, this works. Like, let's talk.
So I realized that I had landed on something, and it was that pain point, and realizing that a lot of people didn't have resources to generate high quality leads. They were still focusing on friends and family and low hanging fruit, and they weren't growing their business the right way. So I sat down like I would, writing any sort of routine out for a personal training routine or a nutritional program. And I started writing down my structure and what I was doing on LinkedIn as my daily order of operations, my DOAs. And I put some structure around that, created some videos, purchased a domain, recorded some videos, and that was the launch of my business. And I went all in on it. My wife and I, co-own the company now, and we're a full-scale marketing and branding firm. I focus more on the LinkedIn side, and then we have other umbrellas of team members that help our clients with other things. But that's basically how I started leveraging myself as the expert around LinkedIn. Now, I didn't call myself a LinkedIn expert. Other people started calling me a guru and an expert. So I kind of adopted that from the people that I was working with because of the results that they were getting. And that obviously led to a number of best-selling books and my top podcast. And now like I mentioned prior, I train some of the largest companies and largest financial firms in the world, teaching their representatives how to use and use LinkedIn to grow their business.
Yeah, well, I love that. I love that not only are you willing to teach the large corporations, but you're still willing to work with the individual entrepreneurs like myself and the rest of the audience watching. So we're so blessed to have you. So obviously you found the right way to use LinkedIn. So for people who are watching, who the reason they're tuning in is because they haven't used LinkedIn in the past, but they want to start. What's the right way to start using LinkedIn the right way?
Well, you're watching this because obviously we titled this the 4 layers of LinkedIn. And, again, there's a lot of strategies to LinkedIn, and I don't want to dilute anyone else's strategy, but what I want everyone to do is picture a layer cake. So you have the big base at the bottom, and then you have your medium base, small base, and the figurine on the top, call it a wedding cake. And if you remove one of those layers, the cake will topple over and it doesn't work. So what I'm going to go over with you guys in a very quickly but streamlined and very actionable way is leveraging LinkedIn from a foundational aspect to actually get results. And this is exactly how it started for me. So the first step is, and the first layer is optimizing your profile. So what a lot of people don't know is that when Microsoft bought LinkedIn out back in 2015, they embedded something called SEO, search engine optimization, keyword searching within all of our profiles. So there's a dashboard on all of our LinkedIn profiles, and it will say, here's how many searches you've appeared in, here's how many people saw your last post, and here's how many people viewed your profile. Now, if those numbers are astoundingly low, it means your profile is not optimized. On average, I appear in close to 1,500 searches a week. So 200 searches a day I'm appearing in, but also I have about 1,000 people viewing my profile every 7 days. So you want to talk about instant visibility, but instant rapport and connection, that's where you're going to find it. So every section of your profile needs to be filled out the right way. Now,
let me just clarify for the audience. Yeah. When you say that you show up in 1,500 searches a week, it's not that they're searching for Scott Aaron. It's that they're searching for some content area and your name pops because of that.
Correct. Yeah, because you have to use specific keywords. So LinkedIn will actually even show you as you start to get analytics because your profile is optimized. They will show you the keywords that people actually put into the search engine in order to find you and have you appear in that search. So then creatively, what do? You take those keywords and you flutter them all throughout your profile to optimize it even more. So LinkedIn is literally handing you the keys to the castle. And this is with the free version of LinkedIn. I don't believe in paying for premium, navigator, or recruiter. Everything that we have done with our company and all of the thousands of clients that we've worked with, no one has to pay to play. LinkedIn is a free platform. So if I'm going to use a platform and it offers a free way to do it, you better believe I'm going to figure out how to use it. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, and that is so encouraging because so many platforms now are pay to play. Like if you're not putting money down, you're just not really going to get anything out of it. You might stay real busy, but you're not going to make any money, right? So I love that LinkedIn provides the opportunity to do all of this organically and free.
Yeah. And we'll get the third layer is where you do the fourth layer is where you do the investing, and that's in your content. So the true value of the time that you're giving is the real value of what you're investing on LinkedIn, the time that you give people, the content that you provide. And we're going to get to that. So making sure that you fill out your profile the right way, where it's optimized, where you're exposing your brand, not a company that you partnered with, or, you don't, even though Nancy and I, we own our own business, we are still on LinkedIn as our individual selves. We are the business owners. We are the voice. We are the face. We are the reason why people want to connect with us. So you need to make sure you have a proper headshot, and your headline shouldn't be one of those typical headlines that you see on LinkedIn where I help entrepreneurs scale to 6 and 7 figures doing this, that, or the other. That is a statement. That is not a keyword searchable headline. So if you look at my headline, it says expert authority mastermind, business coach, branding, marketing, podcast host, lead generation, all specific keywords that people would be. So you have to think about what the end user is. So you think about the person that you want to connect with. So if I was that person, what would I be punching into the search engine to find me? So when you start thinking about it from the external point of view, I call it the passenger side perspective, not the driver's side. Don't think about it as yourself. Think about it for that person that you want to connect with. What would they be searching on LinkedIn in order to find you? And then you use those keywords in your headline, your about me section, which is the section of your profile where you can tell people who you are, about your journey, how you got there, what you're doing now, and why you love doing what you're doing. So it's a way for you to share your story and your experience. The section under that is your experience section. Now, this is your business journey. Now, you don't list things in the experience section like you would a resume, server, bartender, coach. You want to actually bring some life to it. And you should list at least 3 different experiences. The top experience, obviously, being what you're currently doing right now that you want to actually have be most visible. But within each experience, there should be a 3 to 5 sentence description for each of those experiences. So when someone goes to read about what you do, they actually understand what it is that you do because you've provided a description of that.
Well, that's fascinating because so many people, I think, assume that LinkedIn should basically be like a digital resume and that they should just list all their jobs and right. But once you put on the hat of realizing it's an SEO engine, it kind of your entire profile, it sounds like, can become a lead magnet for you.
Well, here's the cool thing, because, Microsoft bought them out, LinkedIn, that is, they actually connect everything to Yahoo, Bing, and Google. So if you actually Google yourself, and if I Google myself, one of the first things that will come up on the top page, if not the first thing, it's not my website, it's my LinkedIn profile. So now Google is actually driving traffic back to your LinkedIn profile. So you're getting external views, not just from people on LinkedIn, but for everyday people searching for business coaches. Because again, Google is going to recognize professional networking platforms and profiles to connect people with. And LinkedIn is a professional social media platform. So a lot of people—
only if you have the right SEO keywords working in your favor.
Exactly. So if you're not appearing on the first page or one of the first results, your profile is probably not optimized.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there such a thing as a wrong way to set up a profile? Let's continue walking through, because I'm really fascinated already. There's things in here that I didn't even expect to hear about. So
yeah, so your profile. So if you are listening to this and you maybe are part of a network marketing company or affiliate marketing or whatever it is, you actually don't want to mention the company or the products that you represent. What people fail to recognize in network marketing, you're a sales rep of that company. You're actually not a business owner, because the company that you've partnered with, they own the products that you distribute. They own your downline. They control the pricing. They control the compensation plan. But the only thing that you do own that they can't own is your personal brand. So you need to go all in with your personal brand. Call yourself a health coach, a wellness entrepreneur, whatever it is, but you never mention the company or the products that you're distributing, because that will just push people away, because there is a negative narrative around network marketing because of the people that do it wrong, not the people that do it right.
correct.
Now,
it raises resistance. And of course, you don't ever want to do that.
Exactly. You want to lower the wall of resistance, and you want to raise the level of connection and attractability so people will actually want to reach out to you. Now, underneath the experience section, there are 3 other sections: licenses and certifications. And whether they relate to your business or not, you can list them. I still have my health and wellness certifications listed because, again, it shows my business journey of how I got to where I am today. Education. So you want to list undergraduate, associate's degrees, bachelor's, doctorates, masters, but leave the dates off that you went. Just list the university. Don't put dates in, because there are age discriminations going on with specific things on LinkedIn. And because I work with people in all generational ages. I work with a lot of baby boomers. I work with a lot of new entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of older entrepreneurs. But again, leave the dates off. Just list the university, what your study was, and that's it. Below that is the volunteer experience. Now, volunteer experience is the philanthropic side of your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn loves philanthropic activities and actually connects you to other people that are also partnered with specific maybe nonprofits that you've done some work with or organizations. So, I've partnered with 3 different organizations where my wife and I are very philanthropic. We love giving back as much and as often as we can. So you do want to list those charities as well. And the one section that I think gets kind of pushed to the side on your profile is your personal recommendations. This I call the Better Business Bureau of LinkedIn. This is where your credibility is really defined. And I have close to 470 written recommendations of people that I've worked with over the years that share their experience of what it was like working with me and how it's helped their business. And that's what I always encourage people to do is as you work with people, as you connect with people, whether they're friends, family, people that you know, people that you did work with, people that you currently work with, an old boss, a new boss, ask them to write you a recommendation based on your character. Because again, people look at your credibility. And something that you and I were talking about offline before we jumped on is you want your credibility to speak for itself. You want the credibility to sell so you don't have to. So we create client acquisition in our company every single week just based on how our profile looks. And that happens with our clients every single day. So that's the first and most important layer, which is the pure optimization of your LinkedIn profile.
Oh, wow. That is fascinating. And there's a lot to unpack in there too, but I could see how if done correctly, it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Like, yeah, you take the time to set it up once, but then all those search engines are running based on everything you plugged in. And like you said, you're getting found thousands of times a week.
Yeah.
It's simply from filling out your profile correctly.
Yeah. It's insane, and people, they continue to try to discredit LinkedIn, and because everyone just talks about Facebook and Instagram all the time, LinkedIn kind of gets pushed to the side. So it's one of those things that once you start focusing on it, you actually start seeing the power of it. And you may be saying to yourself in your head right now, I don't know how to use it, but remember, you didn't know how to use Instagram or Facebook either until you learned. And
right.
That's why we're here today.
Right. And if we take a page out of Scott's playbook, right, and we have a growth mindset and we're willing to learn something new, there's absolutely no reason we can't learn how to use this amazing platform. So I can totally see why your profile would be the base layer of the cake, like the foundational piece. Without that, really nothing else is going to work for you. So
all the sections have to talk to each other.
They do. So what's the next step then? Once someone has their profile optimized, what should they focus on next?
Yeah, it's the build of their network. And this is where I always tell people there's 2 types of connection buckets on LinkedIn. And just so you know, you're allowed 30,000 connections on LinkedIn compared to the 5,000 on Facebook.
That's incredible. That's a huge amount of people.
Huge amount, 6 times larger. But the average age and income of someone on Facebook and Instagram is 18 to 29 with a yearly income of $30,000 a year or less. The average age and income of someone on LinkedIn is 30 to 55 with a yearly income of $100,000 a year or more. So if you're looking for business-minded people that have a healthier money mindset, you're going to want to start spending some time on LinkedIn. Now, there's 2 types of connections that you want to have within your LinkedIn network. The first bucket is your ideal client. So you need to think about whatever your business is, whatever product, good, service you're selling. Who is that dream client? Who is that person that I don't want to say is a lay down sale, but if they follow whatever you're going to teach them, whatever you're going to offer them, they're going to rock it out. Because again, you want to have that narrow focus. You want to niche down. You don't want to spread too wide because then everything is going to get drowned out. So you need to think about who is that person that can best benefit most from what I'm offering with whatever business I have. So, and you want to connect and search for those types of people by putting them into the search engine. So if it's other personal trainers, if it's nurses, if it's accountants, whatever you best relate to, you put that in the search engine. Now, the other connection bucket that a lot of people don't focus on is the power partner. And the way that I describe this is that if a personal trainer was your ideal client, a gym owner would be your power partner because gym owners employ personal trainers. So you start connecting with all these, high business thought leadership type gym owners that you make connections, you establish rapport and trust, and you simply just, who do you know? Do you have any, trainers that would be open to connect me with where I can do some networking and I have something to offer them, whatever it is. So you need this healthy balance. And sometimes in all honesty, your power partners play a more vital role than your actually ideal client because the power partners have networks. They know people and you want to connect with people who know other people. So That's why I always take people through in my coaching program, really getting clear on your ideal client and your power partner avatar, because with clarity comes results. If you have clarity, then you have clear action. Clear action equals clear results. You don't want anything foggy or too just basic where you're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard with your eyes closed and hoping you hit a bullseye. So that would be the secondary layer, optimizing that profile and then inviting the right people to actually connect with you so they're seeing the profile that you've created. So that's layer number 2.
And that totally makes sense to me, because network is all about those connections, first layer, second layer connections, and people go there to network. That's what they go there for. So it makes sense that these power partners would be people you could network with to find your perfect people.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's so helpful. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, already my mind is going down this spiral of how I would create this for my own business. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So assuming that you have that base foundation of your profile, you now know who your ideal client or customer is and the power partners that can help you find them.
Correct.
What do you layer on next in this cake?
Yeah. So now that you're connecting with those ideal clients and those power partners and you're getting people to accept and you're growing your network, now you have to message these people. Again, my wife always says that lead generation is a contact sport. So you need to have conversations and you need to actually get out there and talk to people if you're going to grow your business. So if anyone has spent any significant time on LinkedIn, and Adrienne, you and I were talking about this, that we've received those 18 paragraph long drunkalogs of people trying to pitch and sell and check out this video and watch this link and go here and schedule a call. So people skip right over the dating portion of connecting with someone on LinkedIn and they just ask them right to the bedroom. And that's not how it works. You're not looking for a one-night stand on LinkedIn. You're looking to build a meaningful connection and relationship. So I've created something called the magic formula, and it's a 3-step process to crafting a message that is best for you and your network. And it breaks down like this. So you never want to start your message, dear Adrienne, comma, space, indent, next paragraph, because what if you make it too professional, it actually mimics some of the software and automated messages that people are sending through marketing companies that they shouldn't be using because it goes against the user agreement. So everyone's getting these too professional type messages, and it actually leads to a lower response rate than if you actually wrote and crafted a much more relaxed and just neutral message, such as, hey, Adrienne, it's so great to be connected to you. It's more warm, it's inviting, it's more welcoming. So that's the first part of your message.
Well, and I love that, because for those watching who are thinking, I can't get started on LinkedIn, I'm not like a super stuffy professional. The great news is, like, you don't need to be. And in fact, if you try to be that, you're just going to blend in with everyone else. You're not going to stand out. And so you can be more relaxed. And that's what's actually going to work in your favor.
People are on LinkedIn for 2 reasons: to network with other business professionals and to engage with other business professionals through content or messaging. So you want to be on there. It's so much fun because it's a global networking event every single time you log on. It's not like Facebook, which is like a barbecue where people just hang out and commiserate. And it's not like Instagram, where it's more of a reality TV show. It's the actual reality of what's actually going on in business. And if you want to grow your business, you need to network with other business-minded people. So after you have your warm opening, the second part of your message should be some sort of bridging of the gap, or I call lowering the drawbridge, where you're establishing a connecting point between you and the person that you're messaging. So say my ideal client is another business coach like Adrienne. So I'm going to establish that connecting point as being business coaches. So, hey, Adrienne, it's so great to be connected to you. I noticed that you were a business coach, as am I. Would love to hear how things are going. Share more about what's going on with me and how we can support each other here on LinkedIn. Now, I've done 2 things. Number 1, I've established the connecting point between myself and Adrienne. So when she reads the message, she's going to be like, oh, that makes sense. Scott's a business coach. I'm a business coach. That's why he's reaching out to network, because any high-performing business professional loves to network and they love connecting with other people. But the second thing I did is I used the second most important word in the English language outside of someone's first name, and that word is support. So it's actually been scientifically proven that when someone reads the word support and says it in their head, it triggers their brain to release a chemical called oxytocin. So for people that are not familiar with our brain chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, cortisol, oxytocin is our feel-good brain chemical. So this person is actually feeling good as they're reading this message. Now, the third and final part to kind of put a bow on the message is something that I call a CTA, a call to action. Questions lead to answers, statements lead to nowhere. So if I was just to say, Adrienne, let me know when's good for you. Well, she's never going to let me know because I haven't asked her when is good, because you have to ASK to GET. You have to ask in order to get. So I would simply finish with, do you have any time this week or next week for a call or a Zoom? So you state the person's name, bridging of the gap, reaching out to them, letting them know the established connecting point, and you finish with that call to action to get them from online to offline as quickly as possible.
Well, and already this makes so much sense to me. I get inundated with messages where it's very clear the minute I start reading, someone's just trying to sell me something. Mm-hmm. But with what you've described and the way you wrote it, if you sent me that message, I would think, oh, he's just like me. And he actually wants to connect and help me, not just sell me something. So sure, I could meet next week. I wouldn't even hesitate.
And the big key there, Adrienne, is when you do connect with the right person, it becomes a very organic, natural conversation where you're just flowing back and forth. And when you share your story about what it is that you do and you strike a chord with that other person's pain points that you may know they now have, you're filling a gap or a void in something that they're looking to actually improve upon. So they may take an interest in what you're doing right away. Tell me how you help people. I'm looking for something like that. And I can't tell you how many organic clients I've acquired that way, where it was just having a simple conversation. I was on a podcast with one of my old friends and I was doing a training just like this. As soon as we got off the podcast, she goes, I think I need to work with you. And she hired me the next week. So again, when you add value and you just make organic connection and you just let people what it is that you do and how you help other people, not here's what I could do for you. It's more about just having that organic connection, how you can serve one another. Because again, people don't want to be sold to. No one buys anything from anyone that they don't know, they don't like, and they don't trust. So you have to build that know, like, and trust first and foremost, so the sales start to happen on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that completely makes sense to me. And, prospecting, of course, is important in business, but already what you're describing, it's so much more authentic. It's about actually caring about the person on the other end, thinking about, what's going to make them want to be receptive to even talking to you in the first place. You're not trying to jump to the sale. You're just trying to connect, yes. Literally just connect.
Now, the cherry on top is content creation. So this is where a lot of people don't know what to do. So the easiest thing they do is whatever I'm posting on Facebook and Instagram, I'm just going to put it up on LinkedIn. It's social media, so I'm going to put up my selfie and I'm going to put my, risque pictures up and whatever you're doing. The rule of thumb is whatever you're posting on Facebook and Instagram, don't post on LinkedIn.
Okay. That's message received.
Easiest thing. So what people should be posting on LinkedIn is anything that educates and informs your audience. How-to posts, list posts, educating your audience on something new that relates to the business that they're looking to grow, right? How to do this, if you're a meditation coach, 3 simple ways to get started with your meditation practice, A, B, and C. Now, that can be done in multiple different facets. You can do that through just a general post. You can do that through video content. You can do that through an article. You can share that content in a group that you're in on LinkedIn, or you can create a poll, which if I was to, in ascending order, what my favorite to my least favorite, video is number 1 for me. Polls are number 2, posts, articles, and then conversations in groups. So if at a bare minimum, here's what people need to do as far as content creation. Post 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's it. You don't need to post multiple times a day like other social media platforms. You don't even need to post every day. The algorithm is much different on LinkedIn. I'm still getting traction today from a video I did a week and a half ago. So wow. The fact is that if you need to decipher, what should I be doing? So you can say, I'm going to do a video on Monday. I'm going to do a post on Wednesday. And I'm going to do a poll or an article on Friday. And again, I like doing polls because it's all market research. So I did a poll the other day on Saturday that asked my audience, do you work on weekends? Yes, no, and I wish I didn't, right? And then people were commenting why they can't take off on the weekends, because I believe in work-life balance. Nancy and I stop at around 5 o'clock on Fridays, and we do nothing until Mondays at 10 a.m. So we have all that time off. So again, almost 100 people have already voted. So now I'm seeing the disparity of what people are voting, not the people that are, yes, I'm off, but the people that aren't off. I can reach out to them and give them some tips on how to create more work-life balance, what they can start doing to create boundaries where they don't have to work on the weekend. So again, it's all about getting that market research, or even better, I can see all the people. And if there's a big disparity of people that have voted, I don't take the weekends off, I can do an educational video that next Monday on the power of creating a schedule where you don't have to work on Saturdays and Sundays. So again, it's all market research. But as long as you can wrap your heads, hearts, and arms around the fact that everything that you should be doing on LinkedIn is value added. What can I do to pour into people? And again, going back to the passenger side perspective instead of the driver side perspective, what information can I provide each week on LinkedIn that is going to leave that ideal client or power partner that I've invited in better? Because again, it's a push-pull method, right? So the push is you organically messaging those new contacts the way that I went over in layer number 3, right? The right way. But the pull are those people that maybe they're not really sure about you yet. They want to kind of get to know you through your content. So the pull is actually you engaging them through content creation, writing content that speaks directly to those 2 different buckets of people that have actually came into what you're doing. And the people wonder why no one's engaging. They're not engaging because you're not writing content that actually speaks to that person that you've invited in. So if you're building, a network that's built around wellness professionals, you better be producing content that speaks directly to wellness professionals. So it's all synergistically connected, starting with the optimization of your profile, the building of the right kind of network, messaging of those people, and providing value-added content at least 3 days a week with whatever methodology you want. It could be 3 posts, 3 videos, 2 videos, 1 poll, whatever it is. Block off Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to engage with your networks.
So one thing that I'm hearing that's really unique and different that I'd love to pester a little bit, just to make sure that I'm interpreting this right. On a lot of other platforms, I know a lot of the experts will tell you share tips, value-added content about, whatever your niche area is, but also show them who you are as a person, because they need to see the person behind the business. But I'm hearing on LinkedIn, it's fine if it's a little heavier on the value-added content, the tips, the lists, the checklists. You can actually, is it accurate to say that you don't have to share as much of your personal brand? You can be a little bit more business forward?
Correct. So the fact of the matter is that, again, if you want to look at the social media platforms just with how they're being used, you share a little bit more of your personal life and personal story and journey through Facebook and Instagram. That's where that visual attraction comes from. LinkedIn is not a visual attraction platform. It's an educational and information platform. So there's a lot of people that try to, put reels on there and try to do things that you normally would do. And again, I'm just going to warn all the ladies, if you start putting risque pictures that are showing a little bit too much cleavage or a little butt, you're going to get a lot of creepy old dudes liking and commenting on your stuff. And I always tell people, I don't care how much engagement that stuff gets. What's it doing for your business? Is it leading to conversations? Is it leading to transactions in your business? So a lot of people do focus too much on the vanity metrics of social media. And I will tell you, LinkedIn has the highest percentage of engagement, visibility, and reach out of any social media platforms. And it's not based on the vanity metrics that you see. It's actually the external engagement that you get from people reaching out to you, messaging, and consult calls that are booked by how you're showing up on the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that absolutely makes sense to me. I mean, it's just such a different platform, and it's a different audience, and what they're expecting is different. The reason they're there is because they want it to be different than other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfectly acceptable. And in fact, it's expected to be a little bit more business forward. You don't have to put as much of your personal brand out there. I mean, you want to be who you are as a person, but you're not having to share stuff about your kids and family and pets and all that stuff.
But you'll see people trying to do that. They'll put on the heartstrings of people. And again, it's just for vanity metrics. They're doing it for likes, comments, and engagement. But again, if you want to do that, that's fine. But how's that converting into your business? And if it's not converting, into your business, you're wasting your time. It's better to take that slow road than the easy road, because Les Brown says this all the time. Those that take the easy road end up living the hard life, but those that take the hard road end up creating and living an easy life.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see how that would be absolutely true with this platform. So I'm sure the audience is really inspired at this point, realizing how different and unique this platform is and how really it can be simple. You just need to nail a few fundamental steps and you can absolutely be successful. But the foundation has to come first. So if people are looking for a way to figure out how to build that profile correctly, how might they do that? Do you have anything for us that could help us there?
Yeah, so I do have a free gift for all the attendees, and it is my free LinkedIn profile optimizer. So it's a 4-page PDF that goes into visual depth, everything that we went over in the first layer. So how your headline should be structured, how your summary section should be written, how your about me section, how your experiences should be structured, the groups to join if you choose to join them, all the other key sections. So it's my free gift to everyone. And again, it's the most important layer. If you don't have the right kind of profile optimized to begin with, you're not going to have an engaged network. You're not going to have the right connections. Your messaging is going to fall short, and the value-added content that you provide is going to fall on deaf ears. So it absolutely has to start with your profile, and that's why I want to start everybody with that free gift.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So for those of you watching and you're realizing maybe you're brand new to LinkedIn and you're wanting to start off the right way from the very beginning, you're definitely going to want to scoop that up. But even for those of you who have been around a little bit longer, and maybe you're just realizing now after watching this that, yeah, you've had a LinkedIn profile forever, but you're not leveraging it to the top of its capability with some of the SEO features and the profile setup, definitely scoop this up, because this can take you to the next level status and help you to actually start getting some results. Speaking of results, with all the clients that you've worked with, who are following these 4 layers, right? These 4 strategies. What types of results are possible? Can you help paint a picture of the transformations that people can see if they start following this path?
So there's a number of stories that I can share, but I'm just going to share one, because again, this should kind of solidify why you need to follow these steps. So my wife, Nancy, and I, we did a LinkedIn workshop back in May of this year. And basically, we broke down these 4 layers into 4 separate nights. So we went really in depth in profile, searching, connecting, messaging, all that stuff. So the crazy thing was, on day 3 is when the messaging begins and they start booking sales calls. One of the people that actually attended that workshop closed a client 2 days after they actually messaged them for the first time following this free, simple strategy. So when people actually say, well, Scott, will this actually work? We're giving you the keys to the castle. This is it. If you optimize your profile, if you connect with the right people, if you message them the proper way that leads to them responding back to hop on a call, it's a numbers game at that point. And then obviously, if you provide that value-added content, which will engage them in a whole other way, you're going to succeed. So the long and the short that I tell people is that the only way this system doesn't work is if you don't apply it. If you apply it, you will see the results.
Well, and it's so simple. And I love that within days of implementing it.
Oh, days,
you could
hours.
have customers and clients rolling in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I love that you said it's a numbers game, because I say this all the time. When it comes to online business, especially using social media, it really is a numbers game, but only if you play the game correctly.
Yep.
And so you're giving them, like you said, the keys to the castle. You're showing them exactly how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. So for those people who are like really, really ready to get going, they've already scooped up your freebie and they're starting to think about content. Like, how do they make sure they have their content correct? Any tips for them on that?
Well, so my wife and I, Nancy, we're doing a simple content creation workshop actually at the end of this month. So it's from October 25th to October 30th. It's from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, live and recorded. There's a workbook that everyone gets. And then Friday is from 5 to 6 p.m. Obviously, it's the weekend, so we don't want people hopping on too late, but early enough where they can get the content. And what we're going to be taking people through is a custom routine that Nancy and I have created for ourselves and our clients, showing you how to create simple pillar creative content that can be repurposed and restructured into multiple pieces of content for all social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. So if you're that person that conceptually understands what they should be doing, but you really struggle with bringing your voice behind the content that you want to provide, we invite you to join our free workshop. It's a lot of fun. It's done through Zoom like this, so people can see us. We do live Q&A at the very end of the workshop on day 5. And it's just a great way that we can pour value into everyone to show them how simple it is to create content once they have the foundational pieces. And, obviously we can share the registration link of how to do that.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I will make sure that there's a button somewhere nearby that you can click to join. But what an amazing 1-2 punch, right? You can scoop up the free gift of learning how to set up your profile, get that all set up, and then jump into the content challenge and take it to the next level.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, we so appreciate your abundance, your willingness to share your expertise with us. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm pretty motivated now to spend more time on LinkedIn.
Good.
So I personally found it to be extremely helpful. I'm sure the audience did as well. So for those of you watching, definitely join us in the Facebook group. Scott's going to be in there. We're going to make sure that if you have any questions, you get them answered. You'll get a direct connection to him. How special is that? And so we want to make sure that, you can actually take action on what you're learning, because if you just consume as entertainment, but you don't take action, you're not going to get the results, you guys. And like Scott said, the only people who don't get the results are the ones who don't take the action and follow this very simple steps. So thank you so much, Aaron.
Well, Adrienne, again, honor and a privilege to be here. And I just really invite people to really take advantage of the freebies and, hope to see everybody during our 5-day workshop at the end of October, but also please enjoy the infographic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Scott. You have been amazing. And we will see you inside the Facebook group.
You've been listening to the Impactful Entrepreneurs Show with Adrienne Hill, where we support coaches, course creators, and network and affiliate marketers to translate their big picture vision into actionable plans to build out their business efficiently. If you love our show, we invite you to visit buildalifebydesign.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover more helpful resources. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share. Thank you for listening.